Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new and you're stopping by for the first time, welcome. I am so happy to have you. I would love it if you would stick around by clicking the red subscribe button and then tapping the bell and all to be notified every single time I upload. So I have another face-to-face intro for you. I just went ahead and filmed them both when I was doing my video for Wednesday's video, and today I am actually collaborating with Nicole from The Week's Nest. As I mentioned in my last video, that I do know her personally. We're actually quite good friends. We don't know each other face to face, but we have been messaging back and forth for a long time now. And you guys, I just love her so much. She is so sweet, so kind, so generous. And the best part is she's genuine. So I watched her videos before. I figured, you know, that she was really sweet, but you don't really know until you actually get to talk to somebody. And what you guys get in her videos is the exact same person you get behind the scenes. So I will leave her channel linked down below. Definitely go over, let her know that I sent you. And for today's video, we have for you guys a Farmhouse Dollar Tree DIY for the kitchen. So with all that being said, let's jump right in. Don't forget, please give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. It really helps my channel to grow and for YouTube to notice me a bit more. So I would really appreciate if you did that, as well as share these videos with somebody that you think would enjoy it. So again, with all that being said, let's jump right into today's DIYs. Okay guys, so for today's DIY, I found this on the internet. I was looking for a kitchen conversion chart, but I did not like the price tag, and I knew that I could recreate it for much less. I did just want to mention that I did change up the kitchen conversion chart design, but other than that, it looks pretty similar. So with all that being said, let's jump right into today's DIY.
I want to be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my head down if I want.
To get started, you want to take a foam board from Dollar Tree, and I just used my ruler to mark where I wanted this to be. I'll leave the measurements down below, but I marked where I wanted it to start lengthwise, and then the width, and then I just take, this is actually a quilter's ruler, and I really like it because it's thick and it's heavy, and I find that my lines are much better when I use this. But anyway, I just make 2 marks where I want it to stop and start, and then I take my quilter's ruler and I draw a line to connect the lines. That way I know where to cut. And I'm not very good at straight lines, so I do the best I can. If anybody is the same way, let me know in the comments down below. After I have it marked, I go ahead and I take a razor knife and I just score those lines. With foam board, you have to go over it a few times just because it's so thick, but I went ahead and cut that out. After I have my foam board cut out, I had these large stir sticks. I got 3 in a pack for $1 at Walmart, I believe. I'm not exactly too sure, but I have seen them at like Lowe's and Home Depot and like your local hardware stores, and they're really inexpensive. So I just take my stir sticks, and I had to piece the sides together because the part below the handle was just way too long. So I go ahead and mark the first one, and then put the second one up to that mark, and then mark where the end is, and then I lay the sticks side by side, and I also mark 2 more the exact same because each side is going to be the same. So after I do that, I make 2 marks where my stir sticks are going to end on each side. That way I can measure out the top and bottom pieces correctly. And then I go ahead and measure those and mark those as well. So after I have my sticks marked, for the black part where you're going to put your kitchen conversions, I just wanted to mark where I wanted it. That way I had a square or rectangle, whatever you like to call it, to know where to paint my black. So after I have it marked, I take my ink Waverly chalk paint and I just go around the square first. It doesn't really matter if you go outside the lines because the stir sticks are going to cover the edges anyway. So I do make sure that I go a little bit outside of the lines just in case my, where I marked to paint it wasn't exactly correct. I go ahead and do that for the bottom part as well because the bottom part is a different color than the top part. So after I have it all marked out for the bottom, I take some hazelnut Waverly chalk paint as well as white Waverly chalk paint and I mix it together to get kind of the same color that is on the original product. It's not perfect, but I don't ever look for perfection because I kind of put my own spin on things most of the time anyway. So it wasn't really a big deal that I didn't get it exact. But after I have it all mixed up, I go in and paint. And you're going to see here that when I start to paint it, I notice that some of the white isn't all mixed in the brush, and I actually really like the way that it looked with white streaks, so I do go ahead and just add a little bit more white to the side and then dip my brush in after I dip it into the original color. Next, I take my cut up stir sticks and I just lightly sand the edges just to make sure that where I cut them it's not rough, because if there's splinters hanging out when you go to put these on your project, they're not going to sit flush next to each other. So after I have them sanded, I go ahead and mix up. I try to get the exact color that I did before for the bottom part, and I put it in a tin and mix it up just because I am going to add water to this and kind of make a stain for the side pieces. I did just want to show you a tip that I use. In between coats, I put my brush in a bag just so that way I don't have to keep rinsing it out. And I just thought that I'd share that with you. But once I had my paint mixed together and I put a little bit of water in it, I go ahead and quote unquote stain my stir sticks. And I probably should have just went ahead and painted them instead of trying to stain them, because they don't end up to be the exact color of the middle part. But again, not a big deal to me. So while those are drying, I take my measuring cups, I take them off of the loop, and I take some painter's tape and I just wrap it around the handle right above where the numbers are, like where it'll say 1 cup, half teaspoon, or whatever. So after I have every single one taped up, I just go ahead with some ink Waverly chalk paint and I paint below the painter's tape. And I do have to say that I really did enjoy painting these. I guess because it's such a smooth surface that the paint just went on really, really nicely and smoothly. So I really had a good time painting these. I don't know, call me weird, I don't care, but I was like, man, I don't have any more to paint. So anyway, after I have these painted, I go ahead and take the painter's tape off. I did do this while they were semi-dry because with Waverly chalk paint on plastic, I didn't know if I let them dry, if the painter's tape would rip up the paint. So just to be on the safe side, I did take them off while they were wet. Next, I go in with some hot glue and our side pieces, and I just glue the frame on. Now, as you can see here, when you paint foam board, it makes it curl up, but don't worry about that because once you add your middle pieces, it flattens it up and you can't even tell that it was ever bowed the way that it is. So I just start with the side, and then I do the middle pieces, and then I go ahead with the last side. So after I did all the sides, I go in with another stir stick and I just measure where the hanging part is for your measuring cups. And in the original piece, this part was not the full length, so I just mark where I wanted them. I then, after I had them cut, I went in with my ink Waverly chalk paint and I gave both sides a good coat as well as the edges, just so that way, because these aren't going to sit flush with the foam board, so I didn't know if you would be able to see the other side if I didn't paint it. So after I have those painted, I go in with my sterling silver acrylic paint, and honestly, you guys, if you're doing this project, just paint the handles with some white Waverly chalk paint, and then your silver will stick to it much better. But because acrylic paint is so slippery, I guess the word is, it didn't want to stick on these handles very well. So I did end up just dabbing my silver paint because I thought that it kind of looked galvanized anyway. I wasn't really going for a galvanized look, but honestly, in the end, you can't really even tell that I dabbed this paint on. So to me, it wasn't really a big deal. If it looked really bad, I would have just wiped it off and went with the white Waverly chalk paint and then put this on top. But again, you couldn't really tell and it didn't really matter to me. So for the next part, I took these eye hooks. They are 8, and I can't remember where I got them from. Probably Walmart, or I don't think I got them from Dollar Tree, but you can definitely check there first. I got a really big pack of them, and they weren't very expensive, so I always look at the value of things. If it's a good value for the price, I will have no problem paying that. But I did just go in with my ink Waverly chalk paint and painted them. But I am going to tell you, don't do it just yet. So I lay my measuring cups out as well as my stir sticks, and I just mark on the stir sticks where I want my eye hooks to go. So this is exactly why I told you not to paint your eye hooks yet, because once I let them dry and then put my eye hooks into the stir sticks, the paint rubbed off. So just wait until you have them on your stir sticks and then go ahead and paint them, and then you won't have to double paint them like I did. But no big deal, it only took a few minutes. So I went on the computer and I picked out the kitchen conversion chart that I wanted on here. I tried to use the graphite paper, but it didn't work because it's foam board. So I just turned it over and I used my pencil to scratch on the back, and then I transferred it that way. I just flipped it around and then I traced it onto my conversion chart. So after I had that done, I went ahead and used my white paint pen and I just went over what I just traced. After I did that, I just freehanded the 1 cup, half a cup, third cup, and fourth cup, as well as the tablespoon and teaspoons, just because these lettering or these numbers and letters are so small that it really honestly would have been a pain to try to trace them on. I should have did it first before I did the eye hooks, but you live and you learn, right? Next, I take my natural bristle brush and I just go ahead and distress the edges. Nothing new. I guess I'm a creature of habit. Who else is a creature of habit? I just can't help it. But I just first go around the whole edge on the outside, and then I go to the inside edge, and then once I have the edges all distressed, I just took the excess in my paintbrush, which I did have to go back and dab a few times, but very lightly I just dry brushed the ink Waverly chalk paint all over my frame. Once I had my distressing done, I go ahead and just make sure where I want my last couple stir sticks to go. I then just put some hot glue on each end, and then I push that down. I repeat that for the second part, but for this part I just laid it out, and then I laid my 1 cup out. That way I knew like where I wanted the bottom piece to go, and then that way the 1 cup wasn't hanging over this one, and glued that one down as well. After that, I just put my measuring cups on, and that is it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Thank you, Nicole, for participating in a collab, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.